And I'm Sabrina, and we're moms, juggling tons of stuff every day, like all you moms out there. And you know what we love? Really love pop culture. So listen now to our new podcast, Pop Culture Moms, wherever you get your podcasts. Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest pride celebrations, all in one place as they happen live, right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news, ABC News Live.
Welcome back to our special Race to the White House coverage of tonight's presidential debate. I'm here with Jon Karl, Rick Klein, our powerhouse political roundtable, joined at the table by ABC News senior reporter Katherine Faulders and ABC News contributor Sarah Isgur. Jon Karl, want to start with you just to recap for those who are just joining us. Your reaction to tonight?
A really rough night for Joe Biden. Look, he had the most to gain and the most to lose coming into this. He had to prove that all those doubts about his age and his mental acuity were not founded, that he could really take the fight, take the campaign to Donald Trump. And look, I'm hearing from a lot of Democrats. They're saying this privately now. We're not hearing any prominent Democrats say anything publicly along these lines, but saying that they are deeply concerned about Biden's performance. One Democratic member of Congress who I talked to during the debate reached out, said, "I'm in a state of shock. He is diminished to an extent that has become undeniable." That is a Democratic member of Congress who has been a prominent Biden supporter.
And Sarah, I overheard you as soon as we were coming over here. You said that this is historic. What do you mean by that?
This is, I think, the most catastrophic debate performance that we've seen in our lifetime. We were heading into this debate with Donald Trump leading slightly in a lot of these swing states. At this point, we had not really seen a debate matter. And at this moment, we're wondering whether Joe Biden will still be the Democratic nominee come August. We're wondering whether this could actually be a landslide election, with the Democrats having the most warning that really any party has had about the political failure that they're heading toward.
Katherine Faulders, want to bring you in here. Your reaction?
Well, look, I think the Trump world, as we know, they're ecstatic. They think that this was a huge win for Donald Trump. Now, they may be exaggerating that a bit, but I think a lot of this worked in his advantage in some ways, starting with the rules of this. He wasn't able to interrupt, for example. He couldn't talk over Biden. That was something that his aides were happy, at least, going into the debate. Now, the question was whether he stayed on message. What does that mean for Donald Trump? But that he just didn't get so explosively angry. Now, I would say that watching his performance during the debate, he didn't answer a lot of the questions. He was asked at one point how he would cut child care costs. Didn't answer that. Talked about something entirely different, obviously. Didn't answer the question about whether he'd accept the results of the election. He had to be asked about that 3 times. But at the end of the day, I don't think that ultimately matters.
If you were scoring on points, if we were all debate, we were in debate school here, and this was an actual debate, of the traditional type, Trump did terribly for all the reasons that Katherine just outlined. Also, so much of what he said simply wasn't true. But we're not in a formal Oxford school debate here. We are in a presidential debate, and by the standards that Trump has set, this was actually a very strong performance for Donald Trump. He was remarkably restrained, remarkably disciplined. What Democrats were hoping to see was that Donald Trump acting in a way that was, flailing around, interrupting, being rude, looking like somebody that would bring the kind of chaos to the White House that he brought the last time he was president, or maybe more. And instead, he was actually quite disciplined, let Joe Biden talk. And, he actually, if you think about the personal insults that were flung around in this debate, some of the harshest ones came from Joe Biden, not from Donald Trump. Who would
But
have
the
thought
biggest
that?
win for Donald Trump is going to be that we're not talking about Donald Trump tomorrow or the next day
Yes.
with this debate. This will be a debate about Joe Biden.
I'm going to continue this. Let's put a pin in this for a moment because we are joined now by co-chair of the RNC, Lara Trump. And Lara, I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. How would you describe your reaction tonight to former President Trump's performance?
I thought it was an amazing performance. He was calm, concise, direct, spoke directly to the American people, and said what he needed to say. I think you saw the difference between a strong, very clear, and obvious leader and a very weak president right now with Joe Biden. So, look, obviously we were very happy with his performance, and I love the fact that he got to talk, Donald Trump, about his 4 years in office, about the things he actually did for this country. He, of course, had to call out some hoaxes and some lies that Joe Biden threw his way. And unfortunately for the people of this country, you didn't really hear that from Joe Biden. He didn't give us a clear idea as to how he's going to bring down inflation, how he's going to secure our southern border, how we're going to get rid of all the wars around the world. And so this was an incredibly strong performance for Donald Trump. I think the American people saw this. They remember back to when he was president of the United States. And I think they want their country back. They know who can deliver it to them. It's Donald J. Trump.
Your thoughts on President Biden's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I felt a little embarrassed and sad for him. It was a tough performance for him. There's no doubt. And I think everybody said, how will Joe Biden do in this debate? Will he be able to stand up there and debate Donald Trump? And unfortunately, it was hard to understand him at times. I think certainly he didn't seem to have a full grasp of the topics. It almost seems like he was maybe a little over-rehearsed. I think he probably, over the 7 days he spent at Camp David, was rehearsing a lot of lines with his team. And sometimes it didn't seem to make total sense. And so I don't believe that many people could watch that performance of Joe Biden and come away feeling confident that he's the current president of the United States, let alone re-elect him for another 4 years in the White House.
Prior to tonight, Trump had expressed some concerns about the mics being cut and no live audience. Do you think that either impacted his performance?
Actually, not at all. I think he does thrive whenever there's a great audience. We all know that he has these rallies pretty much weekly or bi-weekly now with tens of thousands of people. He loves an audience. He loves to get people, excited. But it didn't seem to impact him at all. And the mics being cut, I think there were a certain number of times where you saw Donald Trump wanting to respond to things, and maybe he wasn't able to right in that moment. But he always came back during the next question and clarified his position on things. And so, look, we knew that this was going to be a different sort of debate. I think no matter what, we knew that Donald Trump would deliver. I think he delivered an amazing performance this evening.
At one point, Biden asked Trump directly if he would denounce the Proud Boys and insurrectionists. Donald Trump did not answer. Does he denounce the Proud Boys and what happened on January 6th?
Well, I think the problem that we have with January 6th is that it has been very focused on, and to Donald Trump's point, which he talked about in the debate, you had cities around this country like Portland, like Minneapolis, like Seattle, that during those riots in the summer of 2020, were some of them almost burned to the ground, and you didn't see a lot of people being held accountable for that. It seems like there was a lot of extra focus put on the folks that some of them just happened to be at the Capitol on January 6th. These people had their lives ruined, their jobs taken away, literally.